enhanced video that we saw. Remember that video when Aaron Hernandez was coming out of the basement and he had something in his hand, and the defense was saying, hey, it could be an iPad. The prosecution was saying, that's a gun. And the journalists in the room that were talking to the jurors, they asked them what was in his hand. What did you believe was in that hand? And all of them basically said, that was a gun. Were you surprised by that, Joey?
Not at all. Look, it's how ironic is it that Aaron Hernandez really convicted himself? How many other instances do you know where people have all of this extensive video in their home that documented what time he came home, who was with him, where they were, the fact that Wallace and Ortiz, his co-defendants, went into the basement, what he had in his hand before the fact, what he had in his hand after the fact. And so, interestingly enough, the surveillance system that he put in his house to preserve and to save him certainly preserved, justice in this case by finding that he was involved in not only in the crime itself, but obviously the jury felt that he was an active participant. That's why they found him guilty.
Yeah, Joey, we have no question that there are going to be appeals on the heels of this particular verdict, but I want to get even past that a step because there are other murder trials that are pending surrounding Aaron Hernandez. The Suffolk County case that had been scheduled for the first-degree murder from 2012 had a May 28th trial date. That one has been canceled. What do we know about what the future may hold and whether or not those cases may be canceled altogether in the event that appeals that are filed end up not being won and he is, sentenced to this life without the possibility of parole?
Great question, Ali. Each case has to stand on its own merits, and it would certainly be a shame for the victims of that case if they didn't get justice. Now, I don't know what Aaron Hernandez did, don't know what his involvement is. I can only speak to the accusations, and right now he's accused of a double murder. And so certainly, notwithstanding this jury, the job that they did, 34 and a half hours, 7 days, and finding what he did in this particular case, being responsible for Odin Lloyd, the victims of that double homicide deserve their case to be heard. And so, might there be delays? Yes. May, in the discretion of the prosecutor, may they be accommodating for those delays to happen in this case? Perhaps. But ultimately, that case will move forward. And in the event that it does move forward, the question then becomes, could he get a fair trial? That's a whole separate issue. But, the question, Ali, will be then not so much whether the jurors have heard about the fact that Aaron Hernandez is a convicted murderer, but could they put that aside and judge it on the merits of the particular case? Then the next question, Ali, would become, will evidence of this murder come into that particular case? The defense will say it's too prejudicial. Leave it out. No way, Judge. And the prosecution will say there's an exception when it comes to motive, intent, or common plan or scheme. So we have to stand by to see what happens. But every case needs to rise or fall on their own merits, and every victim deserves justice.
All right, we have continuing coverage of the Aaron Hernandez verdict. More conversation on that when we come back.